We should have this special speaker more often because he brings in the crowds. So let me introduce guests. We have a lot of guests here today. We have at the first table, Deb Chisholm, Andrew's wife, Carol Stewart, Chris's mom, Jorg Bernhardt, who's a visitor. Let's see, next, I'm not calling the speaker a guest, that's for sure. And
Peter Hawks from the Burlington.
Peter Hawks from Burlington Rotary. He's an old-time friend of Bill Skiff's, and he came out of the bushes because of Bill. Thank you, Bill.
Got it probably at 7:30 this morning.
And Sarah Moran is checking in at the front desk. I think I got everybody. Did I miss anybody?
Hi.
On Zoom, we have Nancy and Ken Stone. Ken's not really officially a guest. Chapin Kaner and Jane Stickney. I think I got you all. So welcome, everybody. So our inspiration and our Rotary Minute today are both coming from the speaker. The speaker is my inspiration. He is our charter president. He was the first president, the first year of the club, and therefore he has the gold name tag, you might all notice. Anyway, in Bill's presentation, he'll be giving us a Rotary Minute. So I have some business to take care of before we get to the speaker. The first thing is some sad news. Howard Novak's wife, Janice, is in respite. She's not taking food, so it probably won't be long now. I want you all to know Dave has spoken to him, so you might speak with Dave after the meeting. I need a vote from the club. You gave $560 for a shelter box last week. $580 for a shelter box last week. So the board needs your vote for us to throw in 420 more to make $1,000 so we can buy a shelter box. Would somebody be willing to make a motion? Leslie?
I'll make a motion that the club donate the $420, and I second.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Anybody have any questions? Okay, then everybody in the club who wishes to vote yes for the motion, please raise your hand. Any nays? Okay, thank you very much. We'll be buying a shelter box. I just have a couple of words about RILA and scholarships. Elizabeth is in charge of RILA this year. She has posted on Front Porch Forum and already got somebody asking about an application. So I'm very optimistic that we'll be sending 2 or 3 students to RILA this year. Yes, Barb.
Elizabeth would probably like a couple of people to support her in the committee. So if anybody's interested in doing that.
You know, you keep doing this. You take the words out of my mouth.
Sorry. I just want to relieve you of the burden.
Oh, thank you so much.
And along the same lines, Angela has consented to be in charge of scholarship, and she needs a couple of people on her team.
Okay, so we're going to take this one at a time. Anybody who's interested in helping Elizabeth with RILA, the Rotary Youth Leadership Award, please raise your hand. Charlie. Walter. It's a fun process because you get to interview the applicants, and that's a kick, I gotta say. Sophomores in high school, you can't lose. And then have Jude, would you like to do that too? Okay, Jude is also. People may have already signed up to be on the scholarship team. If you are interested in being on the scholarship team, please raise your hand. Ask Barb. It's again, Vince and Walter. Okay. And Jude. Okay. Thank you. I'll pass your names on to the leaders. The next question I have is, who here has never done a classification talk? Susan, Armand, Sherry, you did one, didn't you?
It was, jumped in and rescued.
Did you say Susan Dan?
I did. Anyway, Jen, I'm pretty sure that Jen Murphy has not done one, Aaron Pond has not done one, Aaron Barbic has not done one, but they're not here to tell me that. I'm sorry? Maybe Ellie, right. So I will contact those people. The reason I'm asking is that we have 2 open meetings in March, and I'm going to ask people to do classification talks. I promise I will tell you what a classification talk is before I ask you to do it. Yes.
You know, I've got speaker. I can't remember if it's the first or the second. Meeting in March, right?
Yeah, these are the last 2 Thursdays in March. Okay. And without further ado, I'm going to ask Walter to introduce our speaker. Oh, and by the way, please, everybody bust your tables when you're finished eating so the cook can wash the dishes.
So I don't think I really have to introduce Bill Skiff. Everybody knows Bill. So he was born in Detroit, Michigan, and lived there for 5 years. His family then moved to Cambridge, Vermont, where Bill began first grade and graduated from high school. After high school, he went to Middlebury College and graduated with a degree in physical education. And he received a master's degree from Springfield College in guidance. And over the years, Bill has had many jobs, including Stowe physical education teacher, director of the New York State Youth Rehabilitation Camps, and Mount Mansfield Union High School guidance counselor. Today, he's going to be talking about this Rotary, because he's actually the founding person for this Rotary. So he's going to go over what it takes to create a Rotary Club. And then Bill's been on this earth for 90 years, as he told me. And he's going to share with you his one-of-a-kind experiences during that time. So Bill Skiff.
Well, tell you, I'm not surprised because I was figuring on a little bit, but I am so, I don't know whether it's pleased or happy or something to be back with all my friends. Jeez, I miss you guys and gals. I really do. It's just Rotary's been a great part of my life, and it still is. I know that Walter and Charlie, these guys would pick me up so I could come to meetings, but you know, 7:30 in the morning is awful early. I never thought I'd live when I would think that 10 o'clock in the morning was early. But after doing chores at 5:30 for quite a few years, I figured I can take a chance. This is better. This is nice. 28 years ago, I was sitting in my living room with Dr. Park, and we were talking about Williston and the development in Williston. My wife and I had come back to Williston in 1976. Taft's Corners was the cow pasture. Dave, Walter and I were talking about coming over. Nothing but land, nothing but cows in the meadow, haying, corn, a meadow. I even think, I'm not sure, but I think Taft's Corners was governed by stop signs. I think. Anyway, it was quite an experience to come back and see that. So Dave and I were talking about things. The conversation got around to Williston. And they got around to how we like living here. And then they got around to Williston's growth. And we could see Williston growing and growing. We just had a vision of this. So we got to talking, and I said, you know, I've been a member. What Williston needs is it needs an organization that could help continuing form itself and help be good for the town and be supportive. And so I said, you know, I think I'm going to start a Rotary Club. I had been a member of the Stowe Club and a member of New York State, and briefly a member of the Houston, Texas Club. The reason I didn't stay there was when I went to the first meeting, there were 95 people at the meeting. That's a little big for an old country boy. So I didn't, but I knew Rotary and what it could do for a community. And I knew that it was really beneficial, plus the people in it. Great fellowship. I go back here, I don't know, maybe months since I've seen a lot of you. It was like yesterday. Debbie down there. Walton, it's like yesterday I was talking with you guys, and that really makes me feel awful good. And I know when I talk to you all that you truly have not forgotten me. And that means an awful lot to an old timer. I feel really good about it. So we got to talking, and I said, I think I'm going to start a Rotary Club. And we got to talking, and he said, well, what does it take to start a Rotary Club? Well, two things. You got to be sponsored by an existing Rotary Club. You got to have a sponsor. And secondly, you got to have between 25 and 30 starting members that'll step up and say, I'm a member of this Rotary Club. And so how do we get these things? By the way, before I go any farther, I forgot to say it a minute. I want to thank this club and all the members individually and as a group for the support they gave me when my wife passed in July. The club, individuals, letters, cards, telephone calls. You don't know how much that really feels to somebody. I know a lot of you here have gone through losing a spouse, so you got some idea what it's like. But to have this kind of support and know that it's not phony support, know that you mean it, means an awful lot to me. And I can't help you know, I appreciate it very, very much. So we were talking about those two things. The members and the members.
Sponsor.
Yeah, the members of the, anyway, so I got to thinking about that and we started. Another reason I wanted to start was, you know, I'm sure you're familiar with this 4-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? And one of the things we talk about a lot, it also deals with service above self. People out in the community, serving the community. We got Andy Michael as a good example. He started the Easter hunt at the 4th of July. We got Charlie McGill, I don't know where he disappeared to. He would go out with a group of people and they would build a ramp for the handicapped people so they could go up with a wheelchair. Those are the kinds of things that I knew Rotary Club could really do. So how do you start? Well, I know what it had to be. Doc Park, who was sitting here beside me, happened to be president of the Essex Rotary Club. There was my sponsor. What about the members? Well, I said, that's my responsibility. So I started out to try to recruit 30 people in Williston to be members of the club. And I knew what Williston needed, what a Rotary Club needs to be effective. It needs key people to get organized. It needs principal of the high school, the church, town people, town supervisors. It needs insurance people. It needs all these kinds of really dedicated people to help the club. And so I went around and started trying to recruit. I had a tremendous response. I had the finest group of people you could possibly want to know. I'll mention to you just for the fun of it. There are 2 charter members still here in this club. Billy Skiff. And where is he? There he is down there. Dave Erickson.
I was 12.
Okay, so we started. Well, in the middle of winter, we started. It was slow getting started. It's a lot of work. And the president of the Rotary Club Nassau agreed to handle the paperwork. And I'm telling you, when you get state, federal, Rotary International, and you got paperwork coming out your ears, you know, the whole time. I don't like that, any of that stuff. So he agreed to take that over, and I agreed to go try to find the members. And we were both pretty successful. We got all the paperwork done. I had 25, between 25 and 30 members ready to go. So we applied, and that takes a time. So eventually this happened. The Williston-Richmond Rotary Club was hosted for its charter night. By the Essex Rotary Club on December 12th, the charter for the new organization, and a district governor, Arnold Blagan, was the other presenter. The club is off to a strong start with 26 charter members. And we all felt pretty good about that. I had almost, I think I had 20 or 29, but what happened was a couple of members, they moved out of town because their job changed. And one of the person I think had some not financial, health problems in his family. So I lost a couple by the time we were chartered, but that was okay. They said, hey, 25 is good. And they and 25 people that were strong and willing to work and really had a feeling for Williston. They were part of it, and they wanted to continue to be part of it. A couple nice things happened. Financially, you have to pay a Rotary Introduction Club fee, $500. That was paid by the Essex Club. That was their contribution to our happiness. They did the $500 initiation fee, which was really pretty nice of them to do that. And by the way, there it is. The bell, they presented us with that too. Essex Rotary Club gave us that bell. And that's a great thing to have too. So they were right behind us all the way. And also when we needed help, I could call Dave up and say, hey, Dave, and he would help me, and we would go. I have here, I leave it up here if you want to look at it. The 1995-96 officers from the 2 years. I was president. Abbott Brayton was vice president. Derek Kirby was vice president. Debbie Buxton was treasurer and was a secretary. Treasurer was Mark Kelly. Sergeant at Arms, Dave Erickson. You probably forgot that, David. Dave Erickson. Club service, Jonathan Mill. Vocational service was Michelle Fisher. Community was Dan Flanagan. That was our charter officers. And I have somewhere here, the charter members. And it's interesting, they're all great members. And like I said, there's only 2 of us left, but that's okay, because what came in behind us was probably even more energetic than we were. Although I don't see how that could be possible. We were a great club. So there we were, a club. And let's see, I got something else here I wanted to read for you if I can find it. And we met, oh yeah, wait, here we are. The Williston-Richmond Rotary Club took this opportunity opportunity to recognize, we made some recognition of people and gave them some awards. But I wanted to see, I had something here that said where we met on Thursday, but I don't seem to see it. Couple of-
We were in the bank, but right up, was it Key Bank? I don't know if it was Key Bank at the time, but over right in the top corners.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And then for the first, 3 or 4, we were meeting anywhere I could find. Well, that was the other thing I had to do. Find spots for us to meet every week. Find a caterer for us every week. Find a program every week. So I was busy, I'll obviously say. And when we started with this, I spent my time doing all those things. And Abbott Brayton spent his time with the financial part and the organizing. He was a businessman. So he did all that and I did all the program stuff. So it went pretty well. The first year though, we were busy. We tried to do a lot of stuff and we were very, very busy. But by being busy, we got together as a club. We got together as people. I made some great friends. They're all here. Peter I used to ski with, and all these, all kinds of people I met here. They still remembered me and gave me hugs when they came in. And damn, that means a lot to me. It really does. Oh yeah, the Williston-Richmond Rotary Club meets every Thursday morning at the Marriott Resident Inn. But this was 1996, so that was not the first year. Dave was right on that. But we got started, we were enthusiastic, and we did a lot of good things. And this little thing here, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Service above self. Service above self are things like Charlie McGill, who would get a little group of people together and they would build a ramp for handicapped people from the ground up to their porch so they could get in their house in their wheelchair. Now that's service above self, because it took time out of your life. Really good. Andy Michael started a Easter hunt at 4th of July to help kids. My kids are running all around. At the Rotary Club at the holiday 4th of July, we had a parade. We had a what I'm going to say I had a float. We had a float, and the first year we won a prize for the best organizational float in the whole damn thing. Then I also ran a program that came out on my mind. I call it the frog jumping contest. I took a 22 by 22 square, put lines down, so I had 4 triangles. The kid would sit in with his parents in the middle, and they'd let him go at the signal. And the winner would be the frog that jumped out first. And then I had prize for first, second, third, and fourth. And they loved it. We had more damn fun. I think it went on for 20 years. It just got on where I couldn't do it anymore. So anyway, I liked it so much that I wrote a book, Willie the Jumping Frog. And the kids loved it, and they see it. And just one of those things that I did that I really liked. So, and I have a list of charter members, which I mentioned here, but people really love this club, and I can see that the spirit is still here. By the way, is anybody here from Richmond? No. Okay. Williston-Richmond Rotary Club. Why is Richmond in there? Richmond is in there because our club was foresighted. It takes a lot of work, as I just mentioned, and confusion to get a Rotary Club started. Right, local, state, federal, and Rotary all have a piece of the action. Well, we put Richmond in with us, so Richmond technically is a Rotary Club with us. So if and when they want a club of their own, all they have to do is slide over to Richmond, organize, get their things, and don't have to go through all this stuff, because they're already a member of the Rotary Club through our membership. We thought that was pretty cool. And although it hasn't happened, it's still there, and someday it will. Someday Richmond will get big and they'll have it. So we were pretty tickled with that. And I think that was one thing we did that was, very good. So that's sort of how the Rotary Club got started. A lot of hard work, a lot of dedication by people. And 28 years, long time. I think 28 years ago. I was a kid then. I'm 90 years old, by the way. I live in the Shelburne Bay home for people that need assistance, so to speak. And I like it. But when I was there, I looked around and said, gee, I'm living with a lot of old people. And then I said, Billy boy, you are older than half of them. And you have to get used to people talking to you. Like I rode a bike. We were talking with somebody who I ride with. And so I ride a bike. So I got an electric bike. Nice. Rode it 1,600 miles. We're everywhere. But if you ride a bicycle, you go like this, you're fine. But if you slow down, and you got to get both feet on the ground when you stop. Otherwise, it goes like this, and you're on the ground. So I said, I don't want to give it up. So I went to Earl's down there, and I said, hey, what can you do for me? I got just the thing for you. He brings out an electric tricycle. I said, you think I'm going to use a tricycle for that? He said, well, why? I said, because it make me look like an old man. He said, Billy, you are an old man. So that's just the kind of thing that, makes you realize, So that's kind of the way Rotary started here in Williston. Afterwards, if somebody wants to ask me questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Now, you asked me, could I share a little bit about my life? And I said, what in the world am I going to talk about? I said, well, I've been on this earth 80 years. I said, I'm going to talk to them about things that I've done that nobody will ever do again in their whole life, and never will do it again. As an example, I grew up on a farm. Milked the cows. We had a milking machine, but after you had the milking machine, you had dripping them. You had to get your hands on their teats and squeeze them and get out the last bit of milk. So you'd lean your head against the cows, put a pail between your legs, and strip the cow. But you don't strip the cow like this. You strip it like this. See, you squeeze it. Squeeze the milk right out of it. So we used to do that. But what made me happy was we used to have cats in the barn, of course, or get the mice. I had one mother cat that would come and sit here with her 4 little kittens. And I would take one of those teats and they would sit there. And then they'd leave and she'd be cleaning them up, licking their mouths and so on. So I doubt if too many people will be doing that in the past. I had my job when they were haying was to hitch up the horse. It had 2 harness, had 2 horns on it, and the horse would have a rope, and the horse would pull it, and this would pull the hay up in the fork and bring it down and drop it off in the garden. So my job was taking the horse and leading it forward to pull the hay. And I had marks in the ground. When I got here, I'd drive to where the little prongs were, and that was I could stop because that meant that the fork was down to the first bow. The next line was the second bow. And the third one was the file way down. So I had the timing all down. So I didn't have any period, any trouble at all. The only trouble we had one day was Uncle Art, our nephew, our Uncle Art, worked. And he was up on the halo pushing we used to call it the harpoon, and then it would go like this and lift the hail. So he'd got it all done. And so Dad and I started, and all of a sudden we hear, glug, glug, glug. We were hanging Uncle Art. He had a rope around, had a trip rope around his neck. He was up on his toes. Glug, glug. He had a rope burn on his neck. Uncle Art slid down the hay, went out the barn door and didn't show up again for 2 weeks. You couldn't hardly blame him, you know. So that was kind of one thing. So I got that. I'm gonna tell you, let's see. Sugaring this time of year, maple sugar. Man, of arch, some of you remember, and gathered sap buckets on a tree, you know, pipeline or anything. So my buddy and my job was to go around with the horses, the hired man, and a sled with a tank on it. We would go to the trees, we'd pile it in, we'd come back, and we'd dump it in. That's the way we did it. Well, one time we're coming along, and my buddy says, "There's a skunk." Oh, there's a skunk. Let's get him. I said, well, let's get him. He said, yeah, let's get him. I said, okay, let's get him. What's our plan? The plan is this. He's going to get in front of the skunk and just make movements to keep the skunk occupied. My job was to find a branch of a tree, tiptoe around and back of the skunk, and hit him with a club on his head. So everything's going fine. I'm sneaking around. I get right up. I start down with the club. This foot breaks through the crust and goes into the snow up over my knees. It breaks. That club breaks. So here I am with an 18-inch piece of wood in my hand, coming down on the skunk, my leg in the snow. He turned, flipped his tail, and hit me right in the face and down my front with his great perfume. Well,
It ruined the sap.
well, he obviously, so the hired man sent me down to the barn. He didn't want me around him anymore. Sent me down to the barn. My mother came out, took my clothes and burned them. All of them, just burned them. And then for a couple of days, she spent time bathing me in tomato juice. Because tomato juice really helps a lot with the smell, getting rid of the smell of skunks. So after 10 days, my friends would come around a little bit. My girlfriend would hold my hand again. And so I got through it. And by the way, I'll never do, none of us will ever do it again, probably. But if you do, I really recommend tomato juice. It really will do the trick for you. Tomato juice is the best. Let's see what else we got here. Remember, let's see. Cash, cash. I got another thing here somewhere. Where can I find it? Oh yeah, sugar and silo. Cave. I guess that was pretty much it. Oh no, the sugar. Another show. This is my sugar one. This is kind of fun. I worked at my junior high school. No, I was a junior in high school. I worked at a hardware store, had everything, sold everything. The hardware guy paid me $10 a week, which is a hell of a lot of money in those days for a kid. So I was, well, he sold everything, including guns. Well, he had a long barreled, single bolt, single action Remington rifle. And it was beautiful. I wanted it bad. It was $10. So I gave him $5 down. He held the rifle. I then spent $1 a week by paying it off. So after I paid it off, I took it home. My father knew I was doing it, so he was okay because in the meadow, hay meadow, had a number of woodchucks. And you know, woodchucks would make their homes there. And you'd be driving a team of horses along, mowing hay, and they might step in it and break their leg. So he was happy to get rid of it. I was happy to shoot him, of course. And then after that, well, what are you going to do? Well, my buddy and I thought, we'll start hunting chipmunks and red squirrels. Okay, so we would go on along stone walls and hunt them. Well, we were going hunting. We were going along the meadow, and my buddy says, "Is that your father's sugar house?" "Yeah." "Is that the chimney coming out? Big chimney?" "Yeah." "Make a hell of a target." Yeah, yeah, okay, make a hell of.
Was this the same guy that?
Yeah, he was the same guy with a skunk. So anyway, so he knew, he didn't go with me, right? He didn't hunt with me for a while, but anyway, he going, he said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, it's okay." So the sugar house was quite a ways over a couple of hills, and you couldn't shoot straight because the bullet would drop. You had to lob it. And like this. So we laid a while, we got bored. I mean, who the hell wants to shoot a stuff? So we get set, we walk up to the wall, stone wall, and start hunting. Fast forward, springtime. Dad's boiling, going like this, watching the hair down and with syrup, and it starts to rain. Well, wasn't long before drip, drip, drip on my father. And he looked up. Oh boy, I knew what was coming. My father was a very calm person, very good with his discipline. So he disciplined me in 3 ways. One, the next day I was up on the roof, which was like this, by the way, plugging all those holes with tar. You know, there were quite a few of them with tar. Number 2, he took my rifle away for a month. I didn't have my rifle to shoot. And then he said, "Bill, after school, I want you to come home and I want you to go in the cow barn and I want you to clean the 3 calf pens." Oh, baby. I don't know whether you ever clean a calf pen or not, but the floor of it is made up of straw, hay, calf manure, and sawdust, trumped down by calves walking all over it. So you got this hard. So my job to clean it, I had a dung fork, we called it dung fork. Came down, had 2 prongs and had 4 prongs in the middle. Stuck it in the hay, pulled it out, put it in the wheelbarrow, wheeled it down the barn, up a ramp and into the manure spreader. Well, it took me 4 days after school. I couldn't go with my buddies, couldn't do a damn thing. Worked there 2-3 hours to fill up, to clean up that doggone calf pen. It was hard work, and I learned from that quite a bit. Speaking of manure, this is a little hard, but I don't feel bad because everybody on the river, both sides of the river, did this. Springtime comes. Hitch up Molly and Maud to the manure spreader. Take it down to the shed. Pull up beside the shed and put in it all the trash that Mother had collected during the winter. The bottles, the cans, the clothes, the paper, the wood. Piled it up. We piled it all like this. I drove it down across our driveway, down across Route 15, down across the meadow, turned along the Moon River, and threw it all in to the river. Oh my God! As a junior in high school, I said, damn it, something's wrong with this. It's just not right, you know. But then there was baseball and girls, and I forgot all about that. So then my senior year, same thing, go down. Only this year, Dad had bought a Philco refrigerator. Man, that was the nuts. So we had the old ice box. Took it down to the river, stood it up, and I pushed it, and it rolled down the bank. Splash. As a senior, I said, something is definitely wrong with this. You can't do this anymore. You can't do this. It's, we just can't do this anymore. I knew it was wrong, but again, baseball and girls got in the way and went to Middlebury. Who the hell cared about trash in a river? So it just, disappeared, and I felt really bad. But that's what happened when you do certain things like that, and I just felt bad in doing it. The other thing I did, there's two things. I look back and I'm really sorry. They were the two things I consider that were mean. Now, I don't know if anybody here's ever done anything mean, but I did two things that were mean. One of them, the hired man working for Dad had a wife. He was a hard-working, nice guy. She was a witch. And if I wasn't in mixed company, I changed the first letter of that one. She hated me. Billy, get off my shit. Get out of my driveway. Get off my lawn. Dun, 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 dun. I was in the 8th grade. I said, I've had enough of this. So I walked across the lawn, across the brook, right up to her house. Took everything that was just done, right off a clothesline, and threw it in the brook. And stomped on it. Well, do you think I paid for that one? Oh, yeah. And I noticed that she didn't like me any better after. But I did notice that she didn't have as much to do. She seemed to avoid me. So that was interesting. And the other thing I did, it was kind of mean. We used to ski in Stowe in the spring. What the hell's the name? Not Smuggler, Spruce Peak. Spruce Peak was quite a wide open and fairly steep, but it would go like this and then drop down and go like this. And we did it in the spring so that the sun would hit on this little, come along and would hit here. So there were 3 of us, Ralph Barrows, myself, and Alfie Desjardins. And Alfie, we were all teachers. Alfie was from Canada, and he thought he was God's gift to the ski slope. And he was a damn good skier. But Ralph was better than he was, and I was just as good. But we skied with him, and he was always saying, I'm this, I'm that. Why don't you turn like this? So Ralph and I said, okay. So we're skiing up there. It's corn snow, really nice. So we saw this patch, probably this wide. It came down like this. So we came down to 3 of us. When we got to that, Ralph comes over like this, and the 2 of us go down this little 5-foot pair of snow. And Ralphie comes out, he jumps off and lands in a pile of rocks.
Oh, dear.
Because the sun had melted the rock on this thing. Well, he busted his skis and so on. And we thought, this is not nice. This is not too nice a thing to do to a guy. But anyway, that was just the two mean things I did. Well, we'll fast forward a little bit to when I was a guidance counselor at Mount Mansfield High School. I had kids, so I had A through F, I think, with my clients. So you couldn't help it. I had a couple students I really liked. I couldn't help it. I liked these guys. One guy I really, really liked. Came from a farm up in Huntington. Was kind of slow, but he was a nice guy. I had him in the Votech Center at Essex. He comes into my office. He says, "Mr. Skiff, you might as well send me home." "Send you home?" I said. "You're passing everything. You're getting B's in Essex." I said, you're everybody likes you. I said, "You're doing okay. You're the first one ever to graduate in your family." You know what an honor that is? But why would you want to quit school now? He looked at me and he said, "Mr. Skiff, my brain is full. My brain is full." And you know what? He was right. But I counseled, so I met with him once a week and got him through. So I remember him walking down the aisle, did his diploma, his cap and gown on, smiling, folks were here smiling. And he had his motorboard up here, but he had it cocked like this and to the back. He wore it just like he wore his farm hat. And but I really liked the guy. So about 10 years later, I wonder if he, so I stopped at his farm and there he was working, and the place was immaculate. The machinery were all lined up. And I said, "How you doing?" "Oh, Mr. Skip." We start talking, and he said, my father died, and I took over the farm." And he said, I knew you were going to be a good farmer. And he was good with his hands. He liked dairy, he liked animals. We did a hell of a job. Half of the half of the kids on the honor roll couldn't do what he was doing because he had the feeling for it. Another thing, as a counselor, I was in charge of a alcohol education program. Okay, I was always trying to think of new things that I could do to help the kids. So I got this idea. I asked the English teacher, who's a good friend of mine, "Hey, Charlie, will you help me with a project I got?" "Yeah." "What is it?" I said, "I'm going to take a table and put it in front of the doorway leading to the lunchroom. And you and I are going to dress up like Vermont farmers." "Okay." I went out and I bought everything I could find. There was, drink. There was no alcohol. They could. She said, "Oh, the girls particularly were interested. What could they drink here without any alcohol?" Well, it was a big, big success. When we got done, both of us took a can, toasted each other, and took a drink. 2% alcohol. We were giving the kids 2% alcohol. My buddy says, "We better pack up and get the hell out of here." I couldn't disagree with him. The other thing was we had I got into one at one time for about 3 or 4 months. I was in my cowboy stage. I came in dressed like a cowboy, and the kids picked it up. So one day I came in with 4 bales of hay, some cowboy hats, 3 Winchester rifles, and 4 Colt pistols, 45 pistols. And the boys sat like this, and the girls sat in their lap, and the girls would hold a rifle, and the boys would hold a pistol. Well, took pictures, everybody loved it. The kids helped me I give them the guns. They carried them out of school and put them in my car. Can you think how that would go today? You think I'd get away with that today? I don't think so. The other thing that I'd like to share with you. I told you about the milking and the cow. Well, this is a book that my father, I put together from my dad. It was all poems that he wrote during his life. And it was called Hills of Home Farm by Glenn Skiff. And here's a poem he wrote that kind of fits in here, I thought. Knowed a feller once that had a milking stool that didn't set to suit him as a rule. So he took a saw to the old fending wood, and when he got done, one leg was longer than the other one. So he took the wood again, and this time when he finished the other one, it was shorter than the other one. So he vowed he'd fix her and fix her good, and he took a saw again to the old fended wood. And when he got done, the legs were longer than the other one. Maybe the government can do like they say, fixing the prices of victuals that way. But I wish they'd fix them and fix them right, so they'd set even with my appetite. And I would like to end with a poem that Dad wrote that I think was appropriate for today, and I think it's helped me. It's called Faith. Dad had a lot of faith. He did a lot of preaching and everything. And this is what he wrote. I'd like to end with this one. Because I cannot seize the wind in my two hands like this, and with a yardstick find how long, how tall, how wide it is, or weigh it then upon a scale, and its pounds and ounces call. Must I say o'er hill or dale, there breathes no wind at all? Because my love I cannot take, and like a jewel rare, a setting for it make, that all may see it shining there, and points each growing facet out, or place a price upon its worth. Can I then say, beyond all doubt, there is no love in all the earth? Many may think me odd, I know, for holding fast these things I cannot see or touch or show. But what can they teach me that brings more joy, contentment, peace of mind? If that be odd, then odd let it be, so that I may always find a simple enough faith for me. So I think that was pretty good. Well, we have just 2 minutes left. If anybody has a question, I'll try to answer it. If you can think of anything. Anybody got a question about any?
Can you come every week?
That'd be fine. I'm going to try to come in the summer. I'm going to try to come one day a week, because I really like the energy I get out of this club. I mean, I'm surprised. I'm fired up. Walter picks me up. And by the way, Walter and I are weekly skiers together. We ski we hike, and we also are weekly bikers. That's what I'm going to say. We bike, and we bike all the old rail trails. You know, we bike from like Cambridge to Johnson, to Morrisville, to Hyde Park, and now they're working on one. But we also rode from Downingtown to St. Johnsbury, but we learned something the hard way. We rode that from Downingtown to St. Johnsbury, all downhill. So what does that mean? Uphill all the way back. So now we ride it in reverse because we're smart. So now they got about, like, I don't know how much money, a lot of money, to finish our that particular road from Morrisville to this little starting place, about 25 or 30 miles this side of Downingtown. So pretty soon you'll be able to ride your bike from Jeffersonville clear to St. Johnsbury. And we're gonna do it, but we're gonna do it in shifts. We like to go out 5 miles and come back 5 miles, make 10 miles. Anyway, that's all I have today to say for you. Ah, thank you, I'm gonna stand up for you guys. If I don't fall. All right. All right. This has been a hell of a good day for me, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Just so you know that $50 donation will be made to the WCS mentoring program in your name.
Oh, my God, I appreciate that. Yeah. I know that's one of the things that Rory's always done, been very generous in helping people. And to have it in my name, pretty damn good. I appreciate it.
Now we have a job for you.
John.
You have to pull a raffle ticket out of that basket and read the last